So there's an app that was developed for people to report and track the movements of ICE agents, which was being pushed and essentially, celebrated on CNN, which is pretty wild because of one reason, and that is I think it puts police in danger. I think you can think about it differently philosophically, but putting cops in danger is a big deal.
ICE raids and mass deportations. One tech developer is pushing back with an app designed to track ICE activity in real time. It's called ICEBlock, and it's controversial to say the least. CNN's Claire Duffy is with us now. How does this work, Claire, and what are the legal implications?
Yeah, John, I talked with Joshua Aaron, who is the longtime tech worker who developed this platform, and he said he really wants it to be an early warning system for people about the location of immigrations and customs enforcement officers.
That sounds illegal as fuck. I'm no law expert, but I'm just like, I know like right from wrong, right? That sounds wrong. That sounds like the thing that you're not allowed to do. Maybe my daddy taught me wrong, man. But it sounds like reporting where the cops are going when they're trying to arrest people and warning people that they're coming. I'm pretty sure that's illegal as fuck, man. Just saying.
So he says he does not want people interfering with those officers' activity, but he does want people to be able to avoid them altogether if they want. So you open the app, it looks like a map, and users can tap the map to report an ICE sighting in their area. And then everybody who uses the platform within 5 miles of that sighting will get a push alert. This is a free iPhone app. It is anonymous. Aaron says he doesn't collect any user data.
I'm just going to go out on a limb here and say I believe this stuff already exists. But it's not just like an official iPhone app, but there's stuff like this that exists that people use that's more like on the dark web and shit like that. I'm just going to go ahead and say, like, I think this stuff already exists, but it's not easy to use. And you have to, hear about it through being around certain people would be the ones that know about that type of stuff and where to get it down low, on the down low. All right, because you don't want it you don't want everyone to find out. But I'm pretty sure this type of stuff already exists. However, this being on like iPhones and Androids makes it way more accessible, and people could just download that and use it. It's basically like using how phones can track traffic, but the phones are now tracking ICE sightings, and it's community reported. And this doesn't sound like a safe thing for the officers at all.
And what I think is really interesting about this in this moment is we've seen so many of the biggest leaders in tech supporting President Trump, but Aaron is sort of an example of the fact that there are people within the tech industry who are really resistant to Trump's policies. I asked him what he would say to those tech leaders who, for example, were at the inauguration. Here's what he told me. Take a listen.
I understand that you have shareholders to report to. I understand that you have employees that need their paychecks. But at what point do you say enough is enough?
And John, I should say that ICE did not respond when I asked them about this platform and about Aaron's opposition to their activity.
Yeah, they have no reason to. They have no reason to respond to them about this. Here's what Pam Bondi had to say about it.
Let's start with these lawsuits, the one against Los Angeles and last week in Minnesota.
Yeah, it was Sean, where, in Los Angeles, what LA was doing, and we also sued Karen Bass, the mayor, directly. What they were doing is they were prioritizing illegal aliens over American citizens, and you cannot do that. These sanctuary policies are the root of the cause of violent crime in our country, in LA. We saw it with the riots. We had to send out DEA, FBI, ATF, our U.S. Marshals, jeopardize their safety to help enforce the laws of Los Angeles.
I do feel like that was a little bit of theater. Like they didn't need that many fucking people because the LA cops, once for some reason they were not released, but once the mayor or whoever let the LA cops do their thing, those cops know how to handle all that riots. They took care of it. All that other shit was overkill. But it energized everyone, right? But I do think it was a little bit of theater, so this argument can be made.
We are not going to protect
American Game of
illegal
Thrones,
aliens over Americans. No longer. It's stopped. We have sued New York, Illinois, Colorado, New Jersey, and now we've sued Los Angeles, and we will continue to sue you if you do not follow the laws of our country.
Well, Mamdani, I noticed, made that pledge about not helping or following the law. We do have the supremacy clause in the Constitution. Right. They do have jurisdiction, is my understanding. But isn't that the same for every sanctuary city or state?
Yeah, and what Mudabi is saying in New York is utterly ridiculous. It's making mainstream anti-Semitism, Sean. This guy is out of control. What he's been doing, what he's been saying, he wanted to defund, do away with NYPD. It's so frightening. And the things about anti-Semitism should scare us all, given what happened with the Holocaust Museum, given what happened in Boulder, Colorado, and we just lost that victim, as you know, the 82-year-old victim who was firebombed. Given what happened in the UK with that concert saying all these anti-Semitic things, someone like that is very dangerous, not only for New York, but for our entire country. So we're going to keep fighting for the citizens of these cities. If these mayors and these candidates for mayors won't do it, Donald Trump will.
I'm not a fan of that mayor, and, I don't think that it's going to be good for New York if he gets elected at all. That's just my opinion. But I also, once again, it's just like political, talking points because they know everyone's watching and they're just trying to get as many people to agree as possible. It's interesting the language they use, no matter which side we're listening to. Now we're seeing it from my side. But I just every time I watch this stuff, I make sure to just watch through that prism of understanding. Is that there's the word agenda right here on the screen. Literally, I support for the most part, I support the agenda. But it's just the language right there. I wish more people could see through it. Not disagreeing with our own side of things. I just wish, we could look this and be like, yeah, okay, she's kind of mixing some, a little bit of agenda language in there.
Including Tim Walz, Governor Tim Walz in Minnesota.
Let's talk about, I
guess that's the way it's played, brother. That's how we won, right?
A series of very powerful decisions last week, including the nationwide injunction. Let's go through the importance of those decisions and how it impacts the administration.
Well, it impacts everything President Trump has done, his agenda, everything he's trying to enact under his powers of the executive branch. It blocked our tariffs. It affected our military readiness. It affected immigration. It affected our foreign affairs. It affected us eliminating fraud throughout the government. No longer. They were allowing district court judges to serve as emperors, basically, for the entire country. We've had 285 lawsuits against us. Of the 40 injunctions that have been issued against President Trump's administration, 35 of them were in 5 districts: Maryland, D.C., Massachusetts, Colorado, and Washington State. Not shocking to you, I'm sure, Sean, but no longer. It violated the separation of powers on which our nation's government was founded, and they cannot seize power from the executive branch any longer. President Trump now can enact his agenda. It was a huge win. We've had so many big wins recently for President Trump because the American people elected him by an overwhelming majority and the Electoral College. And that's so important because his message when he ran was crystal clear. And that's what he's able to enact now based on this great ruling with a 6-3 opinion authored by Justice Barrett at the Supreme Court. We also sued last week Governor Walz in Minnesota for tuition for illegal aliens. You can't do that. Once again, these governors, these states are prioritizing illegal aliens over our students. They're treating our students like second-class citizens, and the Trump administration is not going to put up with it. It ends, and it ends now.
I think this is where the ICE tracking app comes in.
We've had Tom Homan on many times on the program, and he's talked about a dramatic increase in violence against ICE agents, over 450%. Really scary numbers. If you have or put out an application or a warning system that ICE agents are in the area, are you guilty of obstruction? Are you guilty of aiding and abetting in that case? And by the way, if you're
I think that it should be looked into, and if they want to find something that they could charge them for, it can go to a court of law, and that's where we could figure that out. I think it needs to be discussed legally.
Sanctuary state, does that status aid and abet, just the very status of it?
Yeah, and that's what he's doing. And people, obviously, our ICE agents, all of our federal agents who are working hand in hand on these task forces, our federal agents from the Justice Department could be injured. He's giving a message to criminals where our federal officers are, and he cannot do that. And we are looking at it. We are looking at him, and he better watch out, because that's not a protected speech. That is threatening the lives of our law enforcement officers throughout this country. And shame on CNN. I just saw that for the first time when you showed it, that they're promoting that app. That's shame on them for doing that. That could hurt our law enforcement officers who are out there protecting them, protecting all of us every single day.
You know, the only reason that we even drew any attention to it was because you were on the program. And I wanted to make sure that you did see it, because nobody watches CNN, to be very honest. And it's important that, but it does, these things do get out there in the ether, and people do know about them. And people, there's a lot of chatter and social media. And I want people to know that if they're involved in this, they are putting ICE officers' lives in jeopardy. Or if they dox the homes of ICE officers, that's scary.
That's definitely going to be used as the argument against this. And that's why I think that it's foolish to make an app like this, because they're going to come after you. Like, this is a much more aggressive administration when it comes to the things that they are about. And I think I wouldn't fuck with it. Like, the guy that's making this app, bro, I don't think this is a battle he's going to win. And I think that if he keeps going, then they're going to get him with something. They're gonna get him with something. They will. But yeah, you just have just having their attention, bro, is not a good thing. The app is crap and puts ICE members in big danger. It does put them in danger. Yeah, but I don't think that's really necessarily the reason. The biggest reason why they don't want them doing that is because they want to get more illegals, and it makes them get less. So if there's an app for them to organize and hide, then that is. And I think that can be argued legally as well. So I think it's putting police in danger. It's helping illegals escape capture when they're the police are after them. It's So it's I think that it will be argued as interfering with law enforcement, straight up interfering with their things, and that is very illegal, especially if you're charged federally and go to a federal court for this crime. This dude's playing with fire within the app. I understand where he's coming from. He sees the world a certain way, and he believes something absolutely evil is happening. What people getting deported disgusts him. I get it. I understand he feels that way. I really do. I understand that perspective. I just disagree. Here is what the app looks like. It's called ICEBlock. It's just some app. Here's the thing. It's #1 in social, and travel. That's pretty interesting. And then, so there's ICE reportings, right? And then from what I heard, a lot of people are protesting the app, so they're making accounts and they're doing false reportings to confuse everybody. So it's getting, I don't know, just kind of hit from all sides. I don't see this lasting. Hey, chill, bro. There's nothing over there.